On an individual level, I know that music has the power to change lives because it's changed my life.
You know, I've had people come up to me and say, hey man, you know, that 7-inch you did with Noam Chomsky back in blah, blah, blah really changed the way I think about the world and you know, really influenced me to you know, be involved politically.
I don't really know if, you know, in the break room at the House of Representatives, if they all sit around and listen to The Empire Strikes First and go, you know what, maybe our system is flawed. I don't really know if it has that kind of far-reaching power, but as improving the quality of one's life, I can't think of anything better.
I don't think music or any band changes the world. It enlightens people, it gives people ideas, thought, but I don't think anybody's changed the world globally or in a big way just through music, unfortunately.
On a global level, I would say that's not very accurate because music, as we know it, only affects a small fraction of the population. Even if it's a highly influential fraction, it's still a very small fraction. There's a world out there that exists independent of music, and it's going to go on existing independent of music.
When people talk about music making a difference, I always assume that they talk about some kind of John Lennon feed the world aspect of making a difference. I'm not sure if it can change a cultural psyche for the better. I don't think so. I think human beings in general are pretty evil. And so they'll always gravitate towards the negativity that they can reach for, whether it's fear of terror or Marilyn Manson. They're going to blame somebody.
It delights and angers. It's, God, it's just such a big thing. You know, I'm a musician, you know. I don't go an hour without listening to music. And I know that most of my friends are the same way. So, you know, I certainly hope that it's as motivational for others as it is for me.
Yeah, music changes people, and I take that very seriously in songwriting and performance. And I believe I go with that a priori, that preconceived belief that what I'm doing is going to affect people's lives.
Music is a force for social change, and even if sometimes these days it seems hopeless, I don't think any of us should give up hope, and we have to keep trying.
I'm not a very good commentator on the legacy of Bad Religion, only because I've distanced myself from the punk culture.
We took a sound from a small scene, right? A small local scene, and through Epitaph, we kind of brought it to the world and popularized it. We didn't invent it.
Minor Threat really did invent a certain that certain tempo, which we stole from the Bad Brains, but just refined it a little bit, or just messed with it a little bit. That whole hardcore thing, I think Minor Threat is one of the bands that would be identified as the beginning of that, and I'm very proud of it. The only downside of the Minor Threat is when Straight Edge went tragically wrong and turned into, you know, marauding gangs of vegans smacking drinks out of people's hands, which was never the intention. I mean, it was just one of our songs that preached sane personal politics, but it was never supposed to be some sort of, you know, youth movement in any way, shape, or form. Bad Religion, that legacy will be join the best band you can find and don't quit. That one's easy.
As I've gotten older, I always have to justify why I'm going up on stage each night. To me, it's because I'm not a peer to these people. I'm not their peer anymore. Right. I'm not someone who relates to them on their own terms. I think I relate to them because I symbolize something to them, and I hope it's something uplifting and hopeful.
The legacy of Bad Religion will probably, it'll be twofold. It would probably fairly intertwined with Epitaph Records, and it would probably hinge a lot on our catalog. That, you know, we have 15 albums out and 25 years as a band. That's a long time for any kind of music, especially this.
You know, through punk music, the world has become alive to me. I've learned more about the world because of the punk ethic that I grew up with. I hope that same ethic can do the same for the audience.
A lot of my friends who are in bands who are just, you know, huge and have become superstars have told me that, you know, my band was important to them and was, you know, influenced them in coming up. So I guess we do have some kind of an influence.
I know people talk about us as being influential, and I understand that. I can't really allow myself to think like that because it skews your head. And you start thinking that you're doing something important, and the minute you think that, you're dead. Because you're no longer thinking that what you're doing is for you and fun.
I've gone more introverted as I've gotten older to try to make sense of the planet, make sense of our culture, make sense of our place in nature, and try and distill that in a communicable form for our audience. And so, in a way, I think that has helped Bad Religion not become stale, but it comes at a cost. And that cost is that I've become less able to comment on what's going on in the punk world. What I see in the future of Bad Religion is great hope, personal hope, that we will play fewer shows per week on tour than we are currently playing.
We never really plan more than a year ahead because no one knows what's going to happen. Of course, at this point, someone could die of old age.
The ongoing joke is 5 more years, and we've been saying that for 20 years.
I think we have a couple of good records left in us.
I'm excited about writing another album. We're doing it sort of one album at a time.
We're working on a double album right now.
We've always taken it really one album at a time, never really set goals, just try to write consistently good material and go with it that way.
As long as Brett and I feel inspired to write, I think we're going to come up with good albums.
What I see in the future for Bad Religion is hopefully 10 more records.
It really revolves around the idea that this is a hobby. It's become our job, which is rare, but it is still a hobby, and it's something that you have to be passionate about, and you really have to like it. You can't do it if you don't like it, because then it's a job, and you're not sincere.
Most of my friends work for a living doing things that they don't like to do, and I just feel so fortunate that what I do is something that I would do for free, something that I've done my entire life. It's a privilege, and you know, it's just people don't get to do this, and I'm well aware of how rare that is, and you know, if you'll excuse the reference to a deity, I feel blessed.
I just hope that Bad Religion can continue to be a source for my creative output. And that's all I've ever looked at it as since I was a kid.